ServiceNow session webinar that's going to cover how expert services can help you in your Gen AI and Now Assist journey. And yes, so you all know Expert Services is our professional services organizations and team that help our customers with implementations and to help you all get to value with all our different workflow and products. But today we're focusing on Gen AI and Now Assist. We can go to the next slide. We have a little bit of housekeeping before we dive into the content. So we're going to start with the safe harbor. So this presentation may contain forward-looking statements that reflect the current beliefs of ServiceNow and are based on current information available. So these forward-looking statements should not be relied upon making purchasing decisions. All right, we got that out of the way. Moving on to the next slide. We also want to inform you that today's session is part of our Live on ServiceNow, an event series to connect you with ServiceNow experts and peers that can help you deploy your products and achieve value faster. And we hope you get value from this session, and we also encourage you to join again during a future webinar. And you can see the schedule by scanning the QR code, and I believe we will be sharing the link to this as well. All right, and then we have some real housekeeping going on here. So a couple of things. First of all, we'll save some time at the end for Q&A. You will be on mute during this session, so please use the Q&A button if you have any questions along the presentation or as we go into the Q&A segment. This segment will be recorded and we'll be sharing it on the ServiceNow community. And after the event, you will be asked to fill out a short survey. We always appreciate your feedback. All right, time to present the speakers. And apologies, our videos are not working today, so we'll do with the pictures. So I'll start. My name is Anna Alston. I'm leading our service portfolio team, which is part of our customer outcomes organization here at ServiceNow. I have the great pleasure to collaborate with our different experts across ServiceNow as we design and build service offerings across our workflow and products. And since we will be talking about Gen AI and Now Assist services today, we have two additional expert speakers with us today. So JD, over to you.
Hey, good day all. Thank you so much for joining us. JD O'Connell. I lead a portion of our professional services organization focused on generative AI and our Now Assist solutions. Been with ServiceNow a little over 12 years and very excited to cover this topic in more detail with you today. Nick?
Yeah, good to chat with everybody here. My name is Nick Borgwart. I oversee an AI experience organization here within our IT department at ServiceNow. I've been with ServiceNow for a little over 10 years as well, and I've known JD for quite some time, so look forward to talking.
Great, thank you. So today's sessions will have a couple of agenda items. So first, we want to talk about our service offerings and capabilities. JD is going to cover that. Then Nick is going to cover on Now with Now Assist. I'm going to chime in 2 times for some poll questions, and then at the end, we'll have a Q&A session and share some resources with you if time allows. All right, over
Excellent.
to you, JD.
Thank you, Anna. Yeah, so I'll kick us off here. And I assume this isn't coming as much of a surprise to the people that joined today, in that every company right now is expected to have an AI strategy. It has the potential to be the next transformative technology, both in the business space as well as the personal. Yes, it's very nascent, but there's a lot of value to be achieved with the capabilities that are available. And ServiceNow has harnessed much of that across our Now Assist capabilities. And that's where we're going to focus today, is how to make the most of those Now Assist capabilities and plan for those as part of your more holistic AI journey, both on the ServiceNow platform and more broadly across your organizations. So with that, I think we're going to shift to our first poll question.
That's right. So our first poll question is, where is your organization on the path for setting an AI strategy and execute on an actionable roadmap for Now Assist? So I have 5 options. The first one is we haven't started, we haven't defined a strategy, and there are limited conversations with key stakeholders. And number 2, you're in the planning phase, currently defining the strategy and what the roadmap is. Or you may be in progress. So number 3, you're in progress and you're executing on a defined roadmap with a clear strategy. Or number 4, you're in progress and you're taking a more ad hoc approach to implementing some of the capabilities and use cases. Or number 5, you're already live with Now Assist with one or more use cases and maybe looking to expand. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll, and I'm going to share the results as well. And I'll see that 45% are number 2 there, followed by 24% not started. So number 1, 21% in progress with a defined strategy. And then we have 5% for number 4 and number 5 there. All right. Go to the
Excellent. Thank you all. And then, yeah, this is a cross section that reflects well on the broader ecosystem as well, in terms of where customers are with their process and with that journey. So for anyone that isn't real familiar with Now Assist already, I want to start here just highlighting the numerous different solutions that are part of that Now Assist offering within our different workflows. So we're not going to walk through all of these, but really just showcasing how diverse we are utilizing Gen AI across the platform. And these are skills, we refer to them as Now Assist skills, that can be applied across different workflows and across different processes. And these are expanding, certainly on a release by release basis. We're seeing enhancements, improvements, and sometimes new capabilities released in a month over month type schedule through our store. And hopefully all of you were able to catch the Xanadu live release that took place just this past Tuesday, where we introduced things like our custom skills development and the Now Assist data visualization as the newest offerings in this area. So tremendous amount of innovation taking place here. And in part because of that, and trying to keep pace and trying to understand how it all fits together, we have created a portfolio of service offerings to help meet customers wherever they happen to be, acknowledging that based on your journey on the platform itself, as well as with this new technology and the new Now Assist capabilities, there's a lot of variance in terms of what individual customers need based on their maturity. So because of that, we've taken a modular approach to the service offerings that have been created. So we have 4 different offerings here, and they can be combined in whatever formulation makes the most sense based on what those immediate needs are. So we'll dive a little bit more into each of them on the next slide, but to give an overview, starting on the left, you have the Now Assist Outcomes Assessment. And this is going to be for customers that really haven't started that conversation, started that journey. And it allows both an evaluation of the instance and some of that underlying data that's going to be important to making Now Assist impactful, as well as talk about concepts like governance, organizational change management, and some of the other building blocks that are necessary to make your Now Assist implementation and journey successful. For customers that have had that conversation either with the sales teams or some of the other channels that might be available to you, typically we're seeing these last 3 packaged together often. So it starts with the Now Assist Amplify, That's where we're going to focus on kind of the pre-work. How can we make your instance ready and the data ready to maximize those Now Assist outputs and value? We have the implementation itself, where we're going to configure, activate, and roll out those capabilities. And then finally, we have Now Assist Optimize, which is going to be focused on monitoring, optimization of results, and adoption longer term. So looking a little bit deeper on each of those, when we're talking about that outcomes assessment, there's a lot of many instances and customers, especially customers that have been on platform for many years. There's opportunities to evaluate technical debt, understand data, things like your knowledge base or your service catalog, and understand, because Now Assist is built on top of a lot of those foundations, where are there areas that we can look to optimize either the process or the data itself to make sure we're starting with a good foundation. So like I said, looking at those processes, looking at that data, and then providing our leading practices around governance for the usage and monitoring of Now Assist, as well as the organizational change management. It's a new technology. It's going to be introducing process changes to your requesters and fulfillers, but making sure they are well supported, well enabled, and understand not just the changes to their workflow, but the changes to the capabilities that are being offered to them is one of the keys to driving adoption. So we really want to set that foundation with the outcomes assessment. Based on the outcomes, or based on the outputs of that assessment, I should say, we can take a look at Now Assist Amplify. So a lot of times, and this could be for customers that are already live with Now Assist as well, there are opportunities to improve the results, the adoption of your implemented or soon to be implemented Now Assist skills. So maybe that's improvements across your knowledge base, that maybe that's focusing on the service catalog to make more of those catalog items conversational so that they can be utilized by Now Assist for Virtual Agent, for example. Or maybe it's optimizing or configuring AI search, which opens up the channels to utilize Now Assist for search on top of it. So this can be used either as kind of a primer or iteratively to continue to amplify and improve how Now Assist is operating across all channels it's plugged into. Now Assist implementation, that's going to be the most standard in terms of a traditional professional services engagement. You're going to come in, understand what your requirements are, where we're going to be implementing it, and configure and activate. But we're also going to make sure we're understanding what the expectations around value are so that we can help define what metrics and reports need to be configured as well, so that you can track what those metrics are indicating over time and understand the value realization that Now Assist is providing. And lastly, we have optimize. So as your requesters and fulfillers are using this, we're going to see some of that real-time data in terms of the results and the actions being taken. And that's going to give us insights into what additional enhancements can be applied. And that can either be in the form of recommendations or advisory, or we can support in a more hands-on manner as well to really tailor that experience based on the sentiment and the results that we're seeing from live users and improve that experience. Now, many of you may be ServiceNow Impact customers as well. And Impact is our, say, subscription service that provides a focus on adoption and value realization through a set of tools and a set of subject matter experts and services. So I wanted to overlay kind of those four offerings that we were just talking about with some of the services that are available as an Impact customer. And these will vary depending on the Impact tier that you may be subscribed to. but highlighting that we do have offerings available to those customers, like Jumpstart Your ServiceNow AI Journey, Jumpstarting Search, Tuning Up Your Search, Virtual Agent, all different areas that are impacting and building blocks to the overall Now experience and Gen AI experience on the ServiceNow platform. And these are not mutually exclusive. They build upon each other. We've been very intentional in making sure that, for example, Jumpstarting Your ServiceNow AI Journey is an input to our Now Assist Amplify services. So work with your sales team and your services sellers to understand what options are available based on your subscription models, and we can tailor make via these offerings and the various modules we talked about the right fit of services to meet your needs. And then briefly, we wanted to talk about what makes customer outcomes and expert services unique. So we are, of course, part of the ServiceNow brand and part of the ServiceNow company. And what that allows us to do is put customer success on the platform as our absolute highest priority. So that is always what we are holding above all else, and allows us to come in and take a more holistic view and understand where you've been and how we can help you get to where you need to go. We also work with many partners in the ecosystem. We can support partners that you might already have engaged on the platform. So we're very flexible in terms of the different models we can engage with. Being part of that ServiceNow brand, we also are very tightly interlocked with our product teams and our business units and engineering teams, which is always important, but with a technology and a product set that is evolving and transforming as quickly as Gen AI and Now Assist are, this becomes even more key to understanding exactly where the product's going, having the ability to reach back and tap on that expertise from the individuals that are actually creating the foundational capabilities in the first place, and bringing all of that to you as the customer. And of course, part of making you successful is driving self-sufficiency. So we take that approach both in terms of design and architecture, staying out of box wherever possible, limiting technical depth so that you're best positioned to adopt all new and future capabilities that are rolled out with the iterative releases. And our methodology is entirely focused around upskilling and enabling you and your teams to own this and own the solutions over the long term. We're always going to be there to support and advise where need be, but ultimately making sure you're along for that implementation journey, we have found makes a huge difference in terms of the long-term success. And that's what we continue to key off of. And with that, we get to poll question 2.
Yeah. Number 2, which Now Assist service offering or capability that JDS went through best meets your organization's current needs? So number 1 there is the Now Assist outcomes assessment. And number 2, the Now Assist Amplify, where you see there is a need to do some enhancement to get the most out of the product. Number 3, Now Assist implementation. You guys feel like you're ready. You're somewhat mature on the platform, which is great. Number 4 is Now Assist optimizes. This is for those of you that have started, but you need to evolve more use cases, optimize what you already implemented. And number 5, maybe none of these offerings. All right, I'm going to give you a few more seconds here as it's still moving. All right, I'm going to end the poll and share results. And I see that 40% is for number 1 there, the Now Assist outcomes assessment. And close number 2 at 38% is Now Assist Amplify. And then we have 13% are ready to implement Now Assist implementation number 3. And 4% are has selected Now Assist, Optimize, and 4% also none of these. All right, so with that, I believe I'm handing over to Nick.
All right. So let me and Anna, JD, thanks for walking us through the offerings. What I want to just pause quickly on is introduce Now on Now. As I mentioned in my introduction, I'm part of our IT organization here at ServiceNow. Now on Now is a program where we as practitioners within IT, we share our stories, our successes, our learnings on how we're running our own business on our own platform. And so we've implemented Now Assist across all of our different product suites internally within IT, how we're running our own business. And that's what I'm going to share with you today here. I'm going to go over some of our approach. I'm going to walk through some brief demos, share some outcomes that we've realized. And then lastly, and maybe more importantly, some lessons learned, as this has been a journey for us as well internally. So let me kick off with our challenges and also our goals. I'm going to bring us back about 4.5 years ago. We internally in IT here at ServiceNow, we went on a mission for self-service about 4.5 years back. And I say that because this journey for us, when generative AI came in early last year, it amplified our ability to achieve the journey that we've been on from self-service. So historically, we've relied heavily on search, virtual agent, automation, and now with generative AI, we're able to amplify the various different experiences we can bring. And I really look at it how we're able to evolve the experiences we've already been focused on and some new approaches that we're able to take. So our challenges, very, very similar to all of yours. Our employees overwhelmed with repetitive or mundane tasks. That has not changed. Our customers, think of Now Support when you go there. The expectations you have as for us as a company, bringing self-service options to you as a customer, it's the same as what our employees expect of us as a company. And then lastly, our processes. They've evolved over the years. We're pretty quick in our processes internally, our processes externally for customer support perspective. Where our goals have evolved with generative AI, as I mentioned, we're able to approach solutions in a different way. And as I get through some of our demos, I'll kind of show you what I mean by approaching solutions in a different way for our employees, but also our customers. So we can move to the next. This is where we really started 4.5 years back. From our employee perspective, they're asking questions or they have needs anywhere from janitorial services all the way through my laptop's broken or I need to install software, right? And then everything in between. So we have a single employee portal. All of our employees go there for any needs that they have, whether it's legal, whether it's HR, whether it's IT, facilities, and so forth. And what we've learned through our journey is we need to be able to analyze all of our employee signals through the channels that they're most engaged with. And over the years, that has changed. So generally, it was employee behavior on how they're navigating the portal. And then it started to evolve into virtual agent. But over the last 2.5 years, it's really been search first. And that's how our employees have evolved. And also our customers, and I'm sure very similar to all of you. Employees, just users, humans as general, we're search first mentality now. And so this is one example where we've evolved how we approach through generative AI, just data analysis and the needs of our employees or even the needs of our customers. So we can move to the next by taking this disjointed data signals that our users have. We start to group these into the organizations or the departments that need to be served. And so we're able to now focus directly into IT issues or IT inquiries and separate those from finance or legal or any other department. So as we approach our solutions, we're approaching them from a departmental standpoint, which has really amplified and accelerated the solutions that we're bringing forward. And, more importantly, the results that we're getting. Our results from a self-service standpoint are continually increasing year over year for every single department. And we actually measure our self-service rates internally by department. So we can separate what the IT self-service rate is versus facilities or versus HR. And then we can start to move, some of our focus or capacity into those departments that may be lagging a little behind. So that's from more of a data signal perspective and how we actually correlate what to go work on internally versus just kind of blindly putting in some solutions that we feel may work, but when reality comes, they may not work. And so we're very data oriented within IT. All right, let me walk through some demos. Actually, first, let me introduce Now Assist before I go into the demos, because that's what these demos are all about. Back in last April, when we started to really kick the tires in terms of what we're going to bring forward in IT, Now Assist was soon released post that, and the Now Assist released very early last year had some limited capabilities, right? We could summarize cases, we could summarize chats, we could, generate knowledge articles, or even from a engineering or a developer persona, the text to code capability. And those were perfect starting points for us because we learned a lot by just turnkey enabling case summarization or incident summarization. We learned a lot of how to measure things. We learned a lot in terms of change management, what our employees expected, even down to the UX layer. So Now Assist was very instrumental for us to just kickstart our journey internally. But now let me walk you through a few demos. They're very brief, but I'm going to give you a flavor of some of the solutions that we've put in place internally from Now Assist. So we can go to the first one. This first one is more from an agent persona. This is chat summarization. So for those who are using live agent chat, you know how mundane it can be as that chat gets to a live agent. You can see a long chain of chat back and forth. And the time that it takes for an agent to summarize that just from reading it is very, very lengthy. And here we're able to summarize the chat through Now Assist and give the agent directly a very brief explanation of what the context of that chat is. So now they can just jump in right away and start helping, our employees. In this case, this is an employee support agent, and without asking additional questions or taking a few minutes to read up on what that whole historical chain of the chat was. So this was more from an agent perspective. Let's move to the next one. Now, this looks like it's just repeating. You may need to hit the next slide. Here we go. So this is from our employee. This is our employee portal. Here's our search. Okay. What's our trading window? This is the query for this example. And what you're going to see, here's our search results. We surface them an application link out to Fidelity, but here's the answer that we're giving them. This is Now Assist for search. This is very, very critical in how we've been operating. And below, we still have our standard search results. So we're not taking the search results away. They can, our employees can still navigate and browse through those. But what we're giving them at the very top was that summarized answer to the query that they were asking. And the way that's working is bringing synthesized answers through knowledge articles. So we'll just, in the demo, we'll scroll back up here to the summarized answer. This is allowing our employees to be able to get the answer directly without having to click on the KB, read through it, and try to find the answer on their own, right? And this has been the most impactful feature of Now Assist for our employees, as well as our customers. So for those who have used Now Support, you can actually see Now Assist for Search live yourself. If you go out to Now Support, you search, we have that capability available there as well. We're hitting roughly about a 70% coverage, so almost 7 out of 10 queries, you're going to get a summarized answer to what your query you may be searching for. And that is, we're continually improving that. So when we first released it, for example, we were about low 50% coverage. We've now increased that to about 70%, and we're continuing to keep focus there. So more and more of your queries can have a summarized answer. So from a customer perspective, you're also getting efficiency out of just reading the answer versus having to click through and finding the answer on your own. All right, let's move to the next. Let's go to outcomes. Outcomes for us has been drastic when it comes to Now Assist. So this is an annualized number. And there's two components that go into this outcome. One is what we refer to as cost takeout. So that's more so from efficiency gains from, say, agents or developers. And the other is productivity. And that's going back to productivity of employees, productivity of customers, in terms of how they're getting their needs served much faster. And search, the demo that I just walked through, is the key example that's driving that primary number. So if we break it down from an employee perspective, we have almost 1 million transactions from just an employee perspective alone. And that's given us productivity back to the employee, but also productivity back to the agent. And that's the agent side, again, to repeat, is where the cost takeout is happening. And then if we break it by customer support, which is where all of you can engage from a Now Support perspective, there's also a case deflection experience out there. So for those of you who have opened a case in the last roughly, say, 3-4 months, you've seen a new experience come to you. And that's primarily driven through the Now Assist for Search, but we're embedding that in the case creation flow. And we're actually deflecting more cases than what was historically there. And then we have a third pillar. This is more of our developer persona internally, our engineers, whether that's the text to code or other capabilities from the Creator Suite that are coming out. We're seeing productivity gains with our developers there as well. A lot of it is coming from our junior level community, from a developer persona. Our senior level community is still kind of adopting, the new experiences, the new tooling available to them. But our junior level community is heavily using those. And I think one important and I would say interesting metric there is 48% of the code generated in the Creator Suite from the text to code ability has been accepted with no modifications. And that just kind of speaks to the quality that the Creator Suite's able to generate code for the Now platform. So that one's been very interesting, hence why junior level community is highly adopting that internally here at ServiceNow. All right, let's move to our last portion, and this is mainly on the lessons learned. And I'll spend a few minutes here because I think this is important. I was looking at the poll results. I think many of you are just starting or looking to start. So hopefully some of what I can share here you can learn from, so you can kind of kickstart as you move on with your journey. We have over 35 generative AI solutions live in production today internally in our environments. And the reason I give a number to that is how quickly we've been able to move through from when we started early last year to where we are now. And so about 18 months. I think technically it's about 17 months. And it's essentially a hockey stick in terms of our use case as we publish them live to production. We're averaging almost 3 a month now. And again, how we've been able to really be successful in that is we've started to center our approach around personas. So whether it's the agent, whether it's the requester or general employee, general customer, and then our developers. So now we have focus areas we can ideate, we can do proof of concepts around the various different personas, and then move much faster. So that's how we've kind of organized over our journey, and that's what's working really well as we've matured. The second area is measurements. I can't emphasize how important it is to measure, okay? Because especially for those who are just starting your journey, you're going to learn a lot, even if it's as simple as just turnkey incident summarization or case summarization. You're going to learn a lot in terms of how the agents are engaging and interacting with those summarization capabilities. And you want to measure who's using it, how frequently are they engaging with it. Think about back to your value. Originally, we went in the assumption that incident summarization was going to drastically reduce our MTTR. But as we rolled that out and as we had months of learning in that, we actually found that it mainly came down to the productivity side, right? Which in the end, it has a little bit of a tail, does bring down your MTTR, but we were expecting just a drastic reduction. Instead, we're seeing a drastic increase of productivity for our agents. The sentiment. So in some of those demos, you might have seen a thumbs up, thumbs down. We measure sentiment across all experiences that we roll out in production today. That's highly important because if you have only a 10% positive sentiment, something is wrong there. It could be the experience, it could be the quality, but something is not being met from an expectation standpoint. And then quickly, I'm going to jump into from an implementation standpoint. This is more of point of view after going through this for 17 months. Start simple. Like I said, incident summarization, case summarization, chat summarization. Those are turnkey. You can get those live in production very, very quickly, and then start to see some value from that. Move fast, right? As you start this, always think, learn, have that growth mindset, and learn from the previous experience you just rolled out and how you can quickly adapt for the next. And then I think from a foundational standpoint, this is the last piece I'll touch on. I mentioned we're very data oriented in IT. Look at your data. If you're not looking at search data today, you're missing a gold mine of information that whether it's your employees or your customers are searching for, you're going to learn a lot just from data signals of what's most important to that core customer base. Again, whether it's employees or customers or any other persona that you're serving. So that would be my my suggestion for those who are just starting or those who are already starting. Maybe you've learned something through what I've mentioned there. Data, measure. That would be my suggestion. So JD, I'll turn it back over to you.